On April 6, 2026, at 6:44 in the evening, a man named Reed Wiseman ceased to exist for the rest of humanity. He did not die. He simply disappeared behind the moon, and with him, 3 other human beings, and with them, every signal, every sound, every contact. For 2,460 seconds, the Earth did not know if they were still alive. Wiseman is a retired United States Navy captain, test pilot, International Space Station veteran, a man trained for decades to operate under pressure in environments that would kill anyone else. He studied the Apollo transcripts. He listened to the crackling audio from 1972. He knew, intellectually, that the moon was going to cut all communications for approximately 41 minutes. What he did not know was what that silence was going to do to him from the inside. Subscribe to Deep Field. This is just getting started. On the last time a human being was where Wiseman stood that night, it was December 17, 1972. Gene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon, climbed into the ascent module, closed the hatch, and humanity abandoned deep space for 53 years. 53 years. In that time, we built the internet. We mapped the human genome. The population of the Earth more than doubled. We filled low orbit with thousands of satellites. We rewrote the surface of the planet, and the dark side of the moon did absolutely nothing. While we screamed into the void, the dark side waited. In silence, no atmosphere to erode its edges, no water to soften its craters, nothing to disturb the perfectly preserved violence of 4 billion years of impacts. That is what Wiseman was about to cross. At 6:41 in the evening, 3 minutes before the signal cut, something happened that no ground simulation had ever replicated. The Earth disappeared behind the lunar horizon, not gradually, not with a gentle fade. The Earth, the only reference point the human brain has in deep space, simply vanished behind a rock 3,474 kilometers wide. Space medicine researchers have spent decades warning about this specific moment. Dr. Nick Kanas called it the Earth out-of-view phenomenon. His hypothesis: when the human mind loses the visual anchor of its home planet, a state of internal disconnection occurs that no training can fully prevent. For 53 years, that was only a theory. At 6:44 in the evening on April 6, 2026, it stopped being one. At that exact moment, the Deep Space Network, the system of ground antennas that had tracked every millimeter of Orion's journey, lost all signal. Telemetry, 0. Voice, 0. Data, 0. At mission control, the screens showed the last known pulse of 4 human beings, frozen in time like a photograph. Aboard the capsule Integrity, the 4 crew members found themselves in an environment the human brain is not biologically equipped to process. A volume roughly the size of 2 minivans. A perfect vacuum centimeters from the wall. A darkness that intensified by the second as the moon also blocked the sun, plunging the exterior into an absolute blackness that no photograph has ever accurately captured. And then pilot Victor Glover looked out the window and saw flashes. 3 meteorite impacts striking the lunar surface in real time, silent explosions of kinetic energy, rocks traveling at 72,000 kilometers per hour, slamming into the ground, a few thousand kilometers away. The same surface Orion was passing through. Definitely impact flashes on the moon, a crew member reported the moment the signal was re-established. Dr. Kelsey Young, NASA Artemis, 2 lunar science lead, acknowledged that ground instruments had failed to capture what 4 pairs of human eyes witnessed in minutes. 53 years of remote observation, billions of dollars in telescopes, and the reality of the lunar environment only revealed itself fully when someone was there to look out the window. But what that silence did to the human mind went far beyond the impact data. Before entering the dark side, just as the signal was about to cut, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen activated his microphone. He knew no one on Earth could hear him. They called it a blind call. He looked down at an anonymous 5.6-kilometer wide crater at coordinates 18.842 north, 86.53 west. He said, "There is a bright spot on the moon, and we would like to call it Carol." Carol was the name of Commander Wiseman's wife, who died of cancer in 2020. The crew embraced inside the capsule, 400,000 kilometers from Earth, in total radio silence, surrounded by 4 billion years of dead rock. It was the loneliest attempt in human history to project love onto the void. The void did not respond. Hansen's radio waves bounced off the crater walls and dispersed into the cosmos. The universe did not register the name Carol. It did not register the embrace. It did not register the tears. It simply continued being what it has always been. 4 days later, on April 9th, something happened that NASA had not anticipated. In open space, with no moon blocking the signal and with no obvious mechanical reason, the telemetry link cut out. Not the planned blackout behind the moon. A new one, unexpected, without immediate explanation. The spacecraft on its own stopped talking to Earth. NASA's Office of Inspector General had already ordered the agency, before the mission launched, to mitigate or prevent the recurrence of uninterpretable Orion telemetry data. Data that agency engineers could not decipher. Data generated in the deep space radiation environment by galactic cosmic rays striking the spacecraft's miniaturized circuits with an energy no ground simulation can fully replicate. 53 years of accumulated engineering, and the data was still, at critical moments, uninterpretable. When Wiseman was recovered aboard the USS John P. Murtha, he asked to speak with the ship's chaplain. He had never met him. But when he saw the cross on the priest's collar, the Artemis II mission commander, the test pilot, the space veteran, broke down in tears. "I am not really a religious person," Wiseman said at the post-mission press conference, "but there was just no other avenue for me to explain anything or to experience anything. I do not think humanity has evolved to the point of being able to comprehend what we were looking at. It was otherworldly." Victor Glover from the adjacent hospital bed added, "We had never seen or felt anything like this before. This is what the phrase means. NASA, without answers. Not because they did not try to have them, but because the most advanced biometric monitoring system in history, the Archier sensors, the cortisol readings, the heart rate variability logs, the entire architecture of continuous surveillance the agency deployed, can measure the collapse of a human being, but it cannot prevent it, and it cannot explain exactly which part of the silence caused it. Today, NASA is preparing longer missions, deeper, further. On a mission to Mars, the communication delay will be up to 44 minutes round trip. Astronauts will watch the Earth shrink to an indistinguishable point of light for months. The phenomenon that psychologically destroyed a Navy commander in 41 minutes of blackout will become the permanent state of existence for a Mars crew for years. The telemetry systems that became uninterpretable 400,000 kilometers from home will have to function 400 million kilometers from home. And no laboratory on Earth can fully simulate what that will do to the human mind. Wiseman said it with the only honesty the void permits. Humanity has not evolved to comprehend what is out there. The dark side of the moon has been waiting in silence for 4.5 billion years. It was not waiting for Artemis II specifically. It was not waiting for anyone. It simply waits. This is Deep Field. Subscribe if you want to keep looking where you should not be looking.